First of all, let me say what an honor it is to be here in this meeting on this occasion among such distinguished members. I feel like I'm truly at a CACCI meeting. We have such a wealth of experience and knowledge here, and I think that this powerhouse of persons in this room can truly make a difference, not only for the diaspora here in New York, but certainly for our countries back home in the Caribbean. Allow me to say that I'm a CUNY graduate. Yay! Graduated from Brooklyn College several years ago, over 20 years ago. I assumed the position of Consul General for Barbados about a year and a half ago. And my first order of business, having come from a background of education and the arts and business, you know, I wear many hats. Sometimes it's a little bit challenging to determine exactly which hat I'm going to put on at which time. But I really wanted to embark on a program to educate my Caribbean brothers and sisters in the diaspora. I have been taken a task by some colleagues not to use the word educate because people see that as a negative. I said, but I'm an educator, and I'm sorry, but if people think that. But we have to understand and recognize that we don't know it all, and we have to learn from our brothers and sisters. And I believe strongly in that. And here, networking this morning, we're going to be learning so much from each other, and we are being educated in the process. So for persons to see education as a negative, it really is saying a lot for how people perceive sharing of information. Maybe that's why the word is in the way it is today. One of the things that I wanted to do first when I got here was to change the perception of how we were indoctrinated and educated in the Caribbean. We were taught to go to school, learn, get our education, get our certificates, and work for the powers that be. We were never really taught how to recognize our talents, how to leverage our talents, how to become entrepreneurs. And it has shown in the way how people perceive themselves and the way how they approach their careers. And also one of the things that we never did was to educate our youngsters on financial planning. So we never taught them about investment, we never taught them about savings, we never taught them about things of that nature, so that when these things come on their doorsteps, they make the wrong decisions because they don't know exactly how to proceed. There are opportunities that present themselves in terms of making a financial investment, buying stocks, bonds, and youth retirement funds, and persons make the wrong choices. And this is something that I think we need to, it's not too late, but I think we need to educate each other, especially our generations, our future generations, how to proceed in this area. I'm not an expert on financial planning, but I know the need for it. And the persons here who are the experts can speak to that. So what I did is when I go around speaking to the diaspora, I tell them there are things that I want you to concentrate on. Planning for retirement. Don't wait until it's too late and then realize that you do not have any money or any access to money when you get to retirement. That's why we have a lot of people out there that are old, they're sick, and they have to go out there and work because nobody told them. They were not exposed to what happens after you retire. Social Security. Persons from the Caribbean are here in the diaspora and they have worked for several years, and a lot of times people felt that it was cute. It was cute to work, what they say, off the books? Off the books. And then to realize that one day that you have to retire,
you'll need the books.
You need the books. But nobody told them. They felt like, I work for $300 a week, I can grow it like that because I know I'm going to get $300 next week. So I just try to keep my head above the water. And then all of a sudden, sickness stops you from working before you get to that retirement age. And then what happens? you are in serious trouble. Estate preparation. Because I'm not sure about the other islands, but in my Caribbean island of Barbados, you don't speak about death. You don't speak about what your worth, where you have your investment, what bank accounts you have, because you think that your children want to kill you. So no, you can't ask your mother or your father, so tell me, where are your bank accounts, where are your insurance policies, who have you left it for, and those things. They get kind of skeptical. Will preparation, we don't do that, and we have so many plots of land and properties laying about because we know how it is. Siblings cease to be siblings and cease to be loving siblings when their parents die. So we have a situation where they fight and there's no unity, and then the properties just stay there and they go back to the government. So these are things that I want to start to inculcate that thinking to our brothers and sisters. And I said this here this morning because I can't do it alone. And we need to have a campaign to really educate each other on these areas. Youth development. Persons left the Caribbean islands and they came to this country for a better life. But what happened is that they went about their social activities, whether it was cricket, whether it was dominoes, whatever, they gravitated to each other. But one thing that they forgot to do was to find a way to get the young people, their offspring, together. So they went about and they had a good time, but now what has happened after, say, 20, 30 years, people of our age group, they're either dying, they've returned to their countries for retirement, and the organizations are now in jeopardy. It's time now to pass the baton, but there's nobody there when you look back. There's nobody there to take that baton from you, because we have neglected to bring along the youth. And now we know that the young people are speaking a different language. So we have another challenge. How do we reach these young people? What do we do to engage them, to get them interested in activities? What kind of activities do we do to bring them together? So these are challenges that I put out to you and that I put out to my people every time I speak to them. In the Consulate General of Barbados, we have two areas. We have Invest Barbados, that we are looking at persons who are interested in investing in Barbados. And we have the Tourism Marketing Inc., formerly called the Barbados Tourism Authority. So we are looking at getting persons to come to Barbados and come to the Caribbean and to look at investment, not only to enjoy the beautiful shores of Barbados and our other neighboring countries, but also to look at investment opportunities there. So that is essentially what we do. We recently, through JetBlue, started a direct flight from Boston to Barbados. And that will help to facilitate the links to the neighboring countries as well. Because Boston was an area where we had to either go through Miami or New York. We at the consulate are preparing to celebrate Barbados' 49th anniversary of independence on November 30th. Thank you. And I think that next year, I think Guyana celebrates 50 years as well. So we share a common history. I was doing some research because I was keynote speaker last weekend at a gala in Orlando. And I was doing some research on Arabaro and his journey towards creating independence in Barbados. And it's remarkable because this was a man that graduated in 1950. And he returned to Barbados in 1950, and that same year, he was elected to government. And then Barbados Labour Party government that same year, a youngster. But he was a man on a mission. But while he was in UK studying, he was studying with some other persons who were leaders. And they probably sat at tables just like us here. And they became leaders of Singapore, I think it was Guyana, and I don't remember the other country. But they all became leaders of the Caribbean and leader of Singapore. And coming back to Barbados in 1950, you can imagine that he was all motivated and invigorated, sitting down at the table with these dynamic persons such as yourselves. And then he realized that the group that he had joined was kind of like not going as fast as he thought he could have gone. So he proceeded to form his own party. That's when the Democratic Party was born. In short 5 years. He lost the government in 1955 when he presented the Democratic Party as an option. But 5 years after, he captured the government in 1961. Here was a man on a mission, and he was moving very fast. And between 1961 and 66, Barbados became independent. In that short space of time, because he had a vision, he said about putting things in place to realize that vision. He also, along with some other Caribbean leaders, founded CARIFTA, which then became CARICOM. He felt that the region needed to come together. And we heard a presenter earlier say that it has been a challenge. And we're not really seeing the kind of activity and interaction that persons out there expect of CARICOM. But we have to agitate, we have to speak to persons and say to them, we want to see more action and see more representation of our Caribbean nations. But coming back to Barbados and the independence, next year we're looking at 50 years. And I have put up the challenge to my Barbadian brothers and sisters to really do some introspection to determine if we have truly capitalized on the opportunities that presented themselves, whether it was in the Caribbean or even here in the diaspora. And I won't say anything more about that. I put the challenge out and let persons determine. But we at the council, we're having an independence extravaganza next Saturday at Long Island University. And we're having a concert as well, where we're going to be presenting Barbados foods, the culture, performing arts, activities for children, and we're going to have a display of businesses and also art. We are hoping to grow this mini festival to be a kind of a networking opportunity, a kind of an expo. It will not happen overnight, but we are hoping to grow this so that persons, not only Barbadians, but other Caribbean brothers and sisters can come out and set up a booth and you can display and advertise your businesses. We need to promote our own. We need to support our own. So that's my journey, and that is where I am today at 1.5 years in service. And I look forward to interacting with you. I have some flyers and some tickets available if you're interested in supporting us. Thank you very much.